I'm Georgia, and welcome to William Buck, a firm that is reimagining the way empowered to shape outcomes. Our teams include audit and assurance, business advisory, corporate finance, restructuring and insolvency, superannuation, tax, and wealth advisory. These teams work together to create a tangible impact for our clients. Events such as staff breakfasts, colleague lunches, trivia nights, and regular parties allow our people to build relationships inside and out of the office. And between our social club and run club, there's something for everyone. William Buck is the perfect place to start, grow, or take your career to the next level. We have robust training to aid growth opportunities and boost career development. Changing lives is our underlying philosophy, and the William Buck Foundation formalises our community and volunteer initiatives, allowing us to better work with charities and organisations most in need. Your physical and mental well-being is super important to us. Our flexible workplace allows you to better balance your professional and personal life. And we're lucky enough to have an in-house psychologist to help you be your best. If you want to join a company where friendships are made and careers are built, then come on over to a firm that's delivering more than just advice.
I'm here at Urban Surf supporting the Bright Sky and Affordability Adaptive Surfing event, and super excited to see first-timers to people like Sam Bloom who have competed on the world stage.
Got over 30 surfers here registered to jump in the water with us today, and there's a real buzz, lots of excitement. Bright Sky and Forward, we've been around for 64 years supporting people with spinal cord injury, and through Bright Sky we're able to fund an event like this.
I'm excited, it's electric out here, so much energy.
There's a huge crew, the weather has turned it on, it's going to be a sick day, I'm super keen, get some waves with some mates.
We're lucky to have Sam Bloom here. She's a great ambassador for forward ability support, but also a great advocate for surfing.
Sick event, it's cool to have so many surfers out here, and wild setup with Urban Surf and Bright Sky and Cywood, and yeah, it's going to be bad.
You couldn't get a better setup for getting into surfing for adaptive athletes.
It's incredible that Bright Sky and Affordability have put this event on and have made it happen, and yeah, obviously with the support of Cywood. So no, it's awesome. I hope we'll do many more events like this.
The Paralympic Games is the world's largest international sporting event for athletes with a disability. Growing from humble beginnings following World War II, when veterans participated in sport to help rehabilitate serious injuries, the Paralympic movement has grown exponentially in size and scale since the first Paralympic Games in Rome in 1960. Held every 2 years, alternating between summer and winter games, the Paralympics now provides a platform for para-athletes with a diverse range of impairments to showcase their ability to billions of viewers. Delivering a unique combination of ever-improving athletic performance and increasing global awareness, the Paralympics is recognised as the world's leading sporting movement for driving social inclusion, transforming attitudes, and improving lives.
This is what it's all about!
Using a process known as classification, para-athletes are grouped together with competitors with similar impairments to ensure fair competition. Athletes with a physical, vision, or intellectual impairment may compete in para-sport. Athletes with a vision impairment. Some para-athletes are completely blind, while others have low vision. Each sport has different rules and equipment for athletes with a vision impairment. For example, in cycling and alpine skiing, athletes train and compete with an able-bodied guide. In other sports, such as goalball, all athletes wear blindfolds, regardless of their level of impairment, to make competition fair. Athletes with an intellectual impairment. Athletes with an intellectual impairment have difficulty with their learning, communication, and social skills. While they are highly capable of dealing with the physical demands of their sport, athletes may need extra time and assistance to plan competition tactics and learn new skills. Athletes with a physical impairment. Athletes with a physical impairment form the largest group of competitors within the Paralympic movement. Physical impairments which can be classified for Paralympic sport include loss of limbs, coordination impairments from conditions such as cerebral palsy or brain injury, muscle weakness, restricted joint movements, short stature, and leg length difference. In all parasports, no matter what the classification or disability group, there are dedicated athletes who focus on their ability and strive to be the best they can be. Whether athletes want to compete at the elite level or just for fun and fitness, there are opportunities to get involved in parasport today. For more information, visit www.paralympic.org.au.
G'day everyone, I'm Clarence McCarthy-Grogan. I play for the Southern District Spartans and we're here at Narrandjeri Stadium for Kevin Coombs' Indigenous Round. The Indigenous Round is so important because it shows the sport of wheelchair basketball that was led by Uncle Kevin Coombs, an Indigenous Paralympian and just an all-round great guy and a very inspirational leader for not just Indigenous wheelchair basketballers but people all around the country because of what he had to go through and trailblazed. It feels really cool to have all the teams here. It's almost like a bit of a finals sort of weekend if the vibe is like that. It's just great to have that social interaction with everybody because we don't actually get to see each other too often throughout the season. You know, it's just great to see everyone at one location for the first time. Having Indigenous Round to kick off NAIDOC Week is awesome. It's an awesome concept. We're down here in Melbourne. You know, it's pretty cold for me coming from Darwin, but look, it's a great concept because it showcases what wheelchair basketball is all about, inclusivity, and it's just great to showcase wheelchair basketball and the Indigenous athletes that do play wheelchair basketball at the highest level in the country.
From the ancient dust of the Red Centre to the saltwater coasts where we meet today, Wheelchair Basketball Australia acknowledges the traditional custodians of the lands across this nation where we gather, train and play. We stand on the shoulders of giants, honouring the spirit of the first Indigenous Australian to wear the green and gold at an Olympic or Paralympic Games. Their journey is etched into the very fabric of our league. Across every court and every community, we celebrate the enduring spirit of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. Together, we share in a legacy of strength, culture, and the game we love.
It's the first game of the final round of the National Wheelchair Basketball League, brought to you by Bright Sky Australia. It's the home team, the Victoria Marvels, put together by Basketball Victoria, looking to get themselves off the mark in this season in one of their 3 games this weekend against the visiting belt-up Perth WheelCats. These two teams at different stages in their history. The Victoria Marvels being a brand new team in 2026, while the Perth WheelCats, a foundation team dating way back to 1988 and the holders of 8 National Wheelchair Basketball League championship titles. My name is Brendan Parnell, and I'm joined by Campbell Fraser tonight, a man who's much more familiar with the intricacies of the wheelchair game, having played and now being involved in the elite coaching space. Campbell, new venue tonight for the Marvels, and an opportunity in these last 3 games of the season. They're not going to make the finals, to maybe do something monumental for a brand new franchise.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a really exciting opportunity for the Victoria Marvels. This is the first time in the entire season so far that they've actually had their full squad. They've had Lachlan Dalton, who was meant to be on their side earlier in the season, who got injured just before the start of the season, and this is his second week back. And also having Tom Klein coming back from the Commonwealth Games a couple of weeks ago. So this is the first time that both of these international players, who were kind of set to be the core that the Victoria Marvels really built around in this first season, the first time that they'll both be in, and I think it's a really good chance. Not just for the Victoria Marvels to potentially have a little bit of an upset and really push the Perth WheelCats to meet the challenge, but just a fantastic opportunity to show what they have been capable of, and something that they haven't really been able to show through the season against a lot of really, really high caliber teams.
As we get a quick look at the team lineups there. The Perth WheelCats on screen, of course, travelling all the way up from Perth. They sit in 4th place in the standings at the moment, 5 wins and 9 losses. And notionally, if everything goes to plan this weekend, they'll find themselves in the finals in a fortnight's time. Our officials tonight, Kenji McFarlane, Alex Carter and Ty Hodgins, as we get things almost ready. It's the Victoria Marvels in the navy blue uniform with the white numbering and letters, and the Perth WheelCats in their travelling red. As the officials just switching things around. I think we might have a slight problem with statistics. The officials want to be sure that both the score table and the statisticians are set to roll. They've just directed both teams back to the benches. Of course, Diamond Valley, an association, one of the largest associations in Victoria, in the middle of a belt of basketball that runs through the northeast part of the city of Melbourne.
And I can't tell if that was actually intentional, or whether the players were just having a little bit of fun there. But it looked like the tap was going to be between 2 of the shortest players in both teams. I wonder if that's actually something that they've agreed to do before the game, because I think that's the first time I've ever seen possibly a 1-pointer and a 2-pointer going in the tap.
Players still rolling around. We got a glimpse there of Frank Pinder, who this week was named in the Rollers team to head to Ottawa early September. The World Championships will get underway there on the 9th of September. The Rollers naming a fantastically strong 12-player lineup, which is indicative of the strength of the National League, which has helped to build the Rollers program under head coach Brad Ness.
and that's been something really exciting for the season this year. This year, really, uh, the Rollers have had quite a few opportunities to test out a lot of lineups they've played. Obviously, there was the Australia versus or the Rollers versus the World series that was played at the AIS before the season started, and then we've had the Com Games as well and the Canada Invitational. It's been a really good experience to see a lot of different players get runs in that team and in that setup to really test out what players are around and really test the just kind of see where things are at. For a few years, the Rollers have had pretty standard expectations of what players get into that team. Not that there isn't competition between them, but there's been a in the past couple of years, there's been a real big step up in a lot of younger players coming through and really challenging the status quo and making everyone work for their role. So I think it's been a really exciting time to see really the caliber of Australian wheelchair basketball players really step up.
Yeah, we saw youngsters such as Tom Klein get a run in the Rollers against the World Challenge, the one you mentioned, the 4-team international tournament, Spain and Italy, of course, featuring in that two of the European powerhouses. And probably a disappointing week for a couple of the Perth Wheelcats players. Jake Kavanagh and Benjamin Moncrief were part of the Rollers team that went to the recent Toronto International, missing out on this World Championships, but as you say, indicative of the strength, the healthy strength in the men's game.
Yeah, and that's it's an interesting thing that they weren't picked. They're very interesting in the way that they sit in that team. Ben Moncrief has always been someone that's been really challenging those high pointers to really stay at the top of their game, and obviously he's been invited to a few international series that the Rollers have gone to. And it's been a fantastic way for him to really step up into that role. And also in this season of the National League, the Perth Wheelcats have really relied on him as one of their focus players and one of their more experienced international players. So I think it's been a really good step up, and I imagine in the next year or two that has to be the place that he's really vying for, pushing into the Rollers and really cementing his place there.
Yeah, he's averaging just a touch over 21 points a game, good for fourth in the league, as well as 5.5 assists. As we get a look centre stage, I wonder whether we'll see a Wizard sighting tonight. Of course, 6-time Paralympian Sean Norris, who made the move across to coaching this year with the Wheelcats, has been moonlighting, averaging about 9 minutes a game, and those 9 minutes are worth watching for some of the trickery that he's able to produce.
Yeah, he's one of those fascinating players. Obviously now he's moved more into the coaching role, but all the time throughout his career, he's really a high impact player. He's so smart. His court IQ is absolutely incredible, and he's really a kind of playmaker and a facilitator. And you can see it if he does come on for the Perth Wheelcats. You can see how they move around him and really collect around him to ensure that they're working with the strength that he brings.
Well, it looks like your prediction was correct, Campbell. We're going to have Frank Pinder and Lachlan Dalton, it looks like, in the jump ball, or the tip anyway, and we're away. It's the Wheelcats with the first possession, and straight away, Jordan Moritz down with the left-hand layup. It's good. The Marvels almost caught out completely there once they didn't win the tip. Shot clock rolling down. Ball kick back to Dalton. He looks at a long three. It's off, but an offensive rebound by Brown. Wheels around. His shot's off. Spillane the rebound for the Wheelcats. Off and rolling. Pinder with the screen. Allows Spillane to drive baseline. He gets it up and in around Higgins.
You can tell the way that the Wheelcats are gonna look to play this game. They're gonna look to use that pace that they have, and especially through someone like Cooper Spillane, who's not necessarily the tallest, but he has so much speed and agility that's really going to be the way that they look to play their game, I suspect, and really pick apart the defense of the Victoria Marvels even before they can get their defense set.
Well, inside Dalton with shot fake. Tried to get up over the long hand, caught the top of the backboard. That'll be a violation. The ball will revert across to Perth. I think echo in the stadium here. Quarters of course getting away from the side. You can see it's behind the side and that ball, free throw line, ball's poked away. Just right back to Kavanagh. Spillane lets it three. Can't get it to go. Klein the rebound. That'll be that he's sitting in third in the league, averaging 9 rebounds a game. He goes coast to coast. First game back after the gold medal performance. The Commonwealth Games in Glasgow as part of the Australian Wombats 3x3 team. Well, it's a 360. Puts it on his favoured left hand. Can't get it to go. Klein, another rebound. Pushing transition. Cut off by Spillane. Puts his dribble alive. Back to Dalton. Uses the Klein screen. Puts the mid-range shot. Goes glass. Can't get it to go. Kavanagh the rebound for Perth. Kavanagh to Moncrief, rolls backwards at the free throw line. Gets up his own offensive rebound, draws some contact. The officials are not going to count that. They've said the shot was after the contact. Ben Moncrief get a hand to pop up there.
You can see the way that the Victoria Marvels are really focusing on pushing their offense, but really focusing on cutting out Ben Moncrief on the defensive side. I think that's going to be the huge key for if the Victoria Marvels look to get something working offensively, is to not let Ben Moncrief be the defender, not let him be inside the paint and be that absolutely monstrous kind of size that he is inside the paint. And, that really has to be the way that the Marvels look to push, because they don't have that size.
Nice screen roll. Kavanagh with the pass from Spillane. Dalton to Victoria. Higgins. Brown. Ball inside. Let's a look in for Higgins. Won't go. Moritz the rebound. Klein tries to cut him off. Moritz can't find a way to the basket. Get across Spillane. He'll take that three. Got it to go. Klein tracks down, almost tracks down another rebound.
You have to imagine that the Marvels are relatively happy with forcing Cooper Spillane onto that almost 3 or really extended 2 kind of range. It's a shot they absolutely can make, but knowing the size that the Perth Wheelcats can represent inside the paint, forcing them to take those outside shots is honestly the best the Marvels can ask for.
Dalton to Brown. Mid-range at 1 go. Frank Pinder the rebound. Spillane. Drives baseline. Cut off. Back to Moncrief. Touch outside his comfortable range. Back to Kavanagh. These 2 won't go. Frank Pinder sails in from nowhere.
That's one of the dangerous things that the Perth Wheelcats have. One of the most fascinating statistics for if you're interested in the wheelchair game, the low point players aren't necessarily the common rebounders. Frank Pinder is currently sitting in 3rd as the highest rebounder in the league in offensive rebounds. It's a fantastic thing that he really excels at, getting underneath the play, really getting into places where he's not noticed until he's too much of a threat.
Down through Brown. Quality shot, just won't go. Moncrief the rebound. halfway through the first quarter. It's the first game of a three-game set between these two teams, the Victoria Marvels and the visiting Perth Wheelcats, come to you from Diamond Valley Sports and Fitness Centre. The National Wheelchair Basketball League. Moncrief exchanges passes inside. Finds Spillane, who finishes. Head coach Jason Bryant wants to have a chat about things. Tactics have been successful, Campbell, in keeping the ball out of Moncrief's hands, but just the Marvels unable to convert on offense at their end.
Yeah, this has been a running issue for the Victorian Marvels. When they're able to get into shooting positions, they really have a couple players that they can focus on and rely on to be those scoring opportunities, and that's really looking at players like Tatum Brown and Tom Klein. But they haven't really been able to find those shooting lines as much, and other players haven't really found their shooting either. I think that's also a credit to the way that the Wheelcats play their defense, and the way that they know that they have to play their defense is just to force those outside shots. They're so happy to let the Victoria Marvels at the moment take those outside shots. Once they start hitting them, it might become a different game. But I suspect the Wheelcats are happy to just act the paint, sit there, and see what happens.
The Marvels just one of their first 9 field goal attempts to this point. Nothing wrong with the quality of the attempts. The finishing. Back onto the floor. Of course, the Victoria Marvels in the Navy uniforms. They'll have the ball. Backcourt pressure at this stage from Perth. Brown. Puts it across Higgins, back inside the Klein. Almost a set play there with the back cut from Klein, able to finish. Moncrief streaking the other way. Looking for a lane, draws a little bit of contact. No look pass. And Moritz. We will head to the free throw line for 2 shots. A little bit of contact there. Some magician type work from Ben Moncrief. That's what we always see, leading the break with the no-look pass.
Yeah, no, I was honestly, I was almost expecting Ben Moncrief to get a charge there. I think he was coming in with a lot of speed, with that really quick change at the very end and that dish off, knowing that he had too much speed and really couldn't take a shot there. But really credit to, again, the experience that he's gained with playing with the Rollers and gaining kind of international level experience.
Ball back with the Marvels. Searching for some answers on offense. Lachlan Dalton, his presence already from the ball handler. Does he get that 2 to go? Good relief. Moncrief for the Cats. Klein picks him up. Tries to go middle. Help comes into there. Expertly catches the pass. As the roller a little outside his remit, but he managed to reel it in and make the layup. Klein caught in the backcourt. It's an offensive foul on Reece Higgins. He looks around ruefully at the official. Kenji McFarlane, then no doubt that that screen or that screening action was not legal.
That's a little bit of a risk for the Marvels. Obviously, Reece Higgins not in any foul danger yet, but in games where it's been closer for the Victorian Marvels, Reece Higgins with the fouls has been a little bit of a risk for them. He's a low point player, so he allows their rotations, and once he gets in a little bit of foul trouble, it really changes up how they have to play.
Dalton did a good job there to poke that rebound away from the Ritz. The Marvels another possession. One of the Marvels out of their chairs. Young Higgins gets a hand to pop up. Of course, official stopping the game when there's any potential danger there. Dalton weaves around, throws a nice little overhand pass to Brown. A little off balance with the shot, couldn't get it to go. Lane almost has it poked away. Frank Pinder leading the break this time. He finds Moncrief, another no-look pass. Party time. And Moncrief. Marvels thought they were away on transition, but official found a bit of contact as that ball was poked away.
Yeah, I think there was contact that came in almost after the ball had actually been taken out of the play. I think there was just a little bit of a hand that may have crossed after the ball had spilled away. I think that the grab on the ball was actually pretty clean. It was just that follow through that got a little bit dangerous.
Rex almost dared again to shoot that perimeter shot. He finds Moncrief and measures that one, can't get it to go. And Downey inside, offensive rebound, another one. Tries to clear some space for himself, he can't finish. Blind an opportunity on transition. Here's the ball straight out ahead. Throws his own no-look pass, but it was straight to the WHEELCATS, but found its way back to Lachlan Dalton, and that's laid plans.
Yeah, that's one of the riskiest plays that the Marvels have really tried to run. I think they got really into the speed that they had. I think they just weren't quite on the same page of who was necessarily going to be the shooter in that position, who was going to look to push. And I think they didn't necessarily spread out as much as they could have. One of the things that we like to coach a lot of players on is having that space across the floor, especially when you're playing a 2-on-1 or a 3-on-2. It's just spreading the defense, and I think the Marvels aren't really doing that as much as they need to.
Moncrief serves for long two, can't get it to go. Find another rebound. Sort of certain calmness. Perimeter. The Marvels tries a three, can't get it to go. Long rebound. Drilled into by Spillane. There's Moncrief. Klein stops his initial transition. Comes back, floats across, overhead. Good. And Downey with the finish. A minute and a half remaining, first quarter here. The Marvels have looked organised. Just get the scoring going. Say that, of course. Dalton measures and makes on the baseline. Moncrief takes another pass inside. And Downey again draws some contact. Very much the playmaker at the moment. You mentioned Campbell earlier that when he tried to go to his favourite spot around the free throw line or the elbow, he's finding 2 and 3 defenders, so he's been happy to become playmaker from the perimeter.
Yeah, and I think the response from the Marvels hasn't been quite as aggressive as it needs to be in terms of switching to other players. Those baseline cuts especially have been really difficult for the Marvels to respond to. One spot that Kane Downey really likes to get, he's quite tall for being a three-point player, and he has so much value inside the paint, and players don't necessarily respect that as much as they need to on that quick cut that he gets.
A foul in the backcourt. Seb Welsh onto the floor for the Marvels. Ball back to Dalton. Left wide open from three again. He catches it. Had a look in and popped out. Scouting report the WHEELCATS are using, but not showing much respect for that three-point shot of Dalton's. As you mentioned, he hasn't played much this year, Campbell, so maybe he's been erased from the scouting report.
Yeah, and I think that three shot, he's a fantastic shooter from outside, and that is really the position that he likes to shoot from. But I think that three shot just hasn't come back necessarily, coming off what was a broken arm, or a broken elbow rather. So potentially his shooting just hasn't quite gotten back into form yet. I think he's looking fantastic from those kind of extended two ranges, but that three range is just a little bit difficult at the moment.
1 to 2. Off. Pinder with the catch and outlet in one motion. Ball's poked away, but finds its way Downey. Pinder at pace, baseline, pulls up, avoids the charge. Moncrief, head fake, pokes a pass inside to Pinder again. nice spinning right-hand reverse.
And again, Pinder just being in those elite positions under the basket. Somehow he's just always there and never guarded. Something that obviously the Marvels are struggling to respond to, but every team seems to struggle to respond to with the WheelCats. They obviously know the height pressure that the WheelCats have and things like that, but the secret power that Frank Pinder has just isn't something to get recognized.
Block from Dalton with the half-court shot on the buzzer. And that'll do us. The Perth WheelCats 17 leading the Victoria Marvels 8. And we'll be back in just a moment.
I'm Georgia, and welcome to William Buck, a firm that is reimagining the way advisors work. Come with me and take a peek behind closed doors. Exceptional advice comes from passionate people who feel empowered to shape outcomes. Our teams include audit and assurance, business advisory, corporate finance, restructuring and insolvency, superannuation, tax, and wealth advisory. These teams work together to create a tangible impact for our clients.
Back to the Diamond Valley Sports and Fitness Centre, just outside of the heart of Melbourne. It's a home game here for the Victoria Marvels. And not a lot they've done wrong apart from being unable to make enough shots. They're 4 of 18 from the field at this juncture.
Yeah, they just haven't been able to finish under the basket. It's the frustrating thing when they've taken the exact same amount of shots as the Perth WheelCats, but the WheelCats have just been able to convert so consistently. The Marvels aren't taking 4 shots necessarily. They've had a couple of threes that they've been forced into. The majority of their shots just haven't gone.
Dalton tries to find a pass inside, poked away. Shot clock here for the Marvels. They look like they're aware of the same. Thomas the inbound. It's the friendly roll. Scoring underway.
I think that's what the Marvels needed. They needed a basket just simple like that. You could see Seb Welch was actually taking a moment to kind of breathe through that shot, not getting forced into any kind of panic, and just get an easy little basket to then move from.
Scoring tracks down the offensive rebound. Michael still happy to run the notional point guard position. Wheeling and dealing. Starts to shoot this one. Sticks on the rim for a second, won't go. Behind the rebound, Welsh the push. Hand off to Dalton. Nice little evasive manoeuvre, goes glass. And the only part of the glass he caught was the side of the backboard, unfortunately. Moncrief the rebound. He thought he had Spillane, but Welsh did a good job covering that passing lane. The ball caromed off his back and out of bounds.
And that's a little bit of that inexperience from someone like Cooper Spillane, not recognising that Seb Welch actually didn't have one hand on his wheels for a while there. Actually probably could have pushed a little bit of pace and tried to threaten that drive a little bit more than he did, but obviously the Perth WheelCats moving back into their expected tried and true, finding Ben Moncrief onto the basket, just so comfortable in that position.
Yeah, Moncrief catching an air ball there. It's a tricky one to box out from. So doesn't touch the rim. Klein finds his way inside. He can't get that to go. It's been tough for him to get in interior position. Did so on that occasion. And able to finish. Here's Moncrief again. Wheeling and dealing and transition. Throws another no-look pass. Finds Blackmore. He finishes. Dalton. The ball for Victoria. They try by 11. Early stages, second quarter. Round 6 action. Close inside. Welsh gets that to go.
That was a really smart decision from Welsh to kind of post up in that position. He had such a good mismatch there. It was almost a little bit of a late pass from Jack Thomas. I think there was a little bit of hesitation, kind of concern as to whether he had the mismatch or not. And that's the kind of thing that you see in younger players and a little bit less experienced players. It's just that questioning their decisions before they make them. You've really got to be making those decisions hard and fast.
Pass from Dalton. Poked away. Substitutions being made. Kavanagh back into the game for the Wheelcats. Bolton goes glass. Finds his range this time.
Again, it's that extended 2 range that he really has found his comfort with. Obviously, pushing out a little bit further than that starts to get a little bit dangerous. I think if the Marvels can get the ball into the hands of Dalton and just get a few of those shots going, get that change of momentum and get the game kind of flowing the way that they need it to.
A little bit of confusion at the half court there. First poked away. She's just figuring out where it'll go. And then Moncrief gets a little aggrieved. But the ball will stay with the Marvels. Fisher's doing a good job there. A little bit of teamwork to try and figure out the correct call. Dalton. Bit of a hesitation. Tries to get around the hand of Moncrief. Can't do so. Moncrief pokes it away to 2-on-1 break. Tinder, Moncrief. Inglewild finish. Tom Klein not overly happy with something there.
I think there's a little bit of an argument for that being either a no call in that position or being a charge. I think Marvels actually did well to keep up in the pace that Ben Moncrief was setting, and it looked like he was the one to turn in. Potentially he was just a little bit further ahead before he made that turn in to cut off the line of the defender.
Marvels failing to box out, and that second missed free throw leads to a layup. Tom Klein is a little bit out of the rim. Marvels staying in touch, but looks like that won't help as Moncrief goes coast to coast.
That's just that communication that doesn't come in early enough, doesn't respond to the threats that the Wheelcats have, and I think that's something that the Marvels have done, have struggled to figure out throughout their season. It's just responding to threats as early as they can.
Nice first break there, finishes with a fine layup. It wasn't long until he launched one of his 3-point attempts. That's off. Dalton pushes ahead to Welsh. It's picked up by Kavanagh. Hands it back off to Dalton. Moncrief comes to shadow him. Klein trying to set a screen. Shot clock becoming an issue. Ball finds its way inside. That's a little short from Thomas. Shot clock expires in the background. Ball back to Perth.
That's a frustrating play for the Marvels, that if they had a split second longer there, that Seb Welsh actually had a cut underneath or towards the baseline rather, but that shot clock just being in too much danger. I think the Marvels took too long at the kind of half court line, really getting the ball moving and kind of getting into their offense.
Simple pass inside to Moncrief. Ben Downey's cut not picked up at all. And Jason Bryant wants to have a chat about things again. He calls a timeout. The WheelCats doing most things right at the moment, finding plenty of avenues to scoring. Moncrief, the provider, he's got 7 assists already. I say just 6 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists. He's doing a little bit of everything, demonstrating the positive experiences he's had with the Rollers this year, bringing that back to the National League.
Yeah, and you can tell that the Victoria Marbles are just struggling on the offensive side again, really just trying to get into positions that they can score from. Finally, in this quarter, they were able to bring in Seb Welsh to get some scoring underway, where previously they've only been Lachlan Dalton and on the line being able to score, and I think that's the way that the Marvels need to look at this, is who do they have a scoring option through that isn't those two, because they know that those two are going to have to attract more attention. And someone like Lachlan Dalton, while he's a fantastic outside shooter, because he sits so low in his chair, we saw before, Ben Moncrief able to just be the size in front of him, and he can't get a pass away, he can't get a shot away once that pressure's there, so the ball really needs to move earlier than that. And the WheelCats just doing so well to suffocate that ball and really make sure that the pressure is always on the ball.
A little past the halfway mark, second quarter. It's game 1 of 3 between these two teams. Of course, 2 other series going on as well this round, round 6, including the league's 2 leading teams clashing. The Wollongong Roller Hawks and the Manly Wheel Eagles. Preview of what's to come in the finals in a couple of weeks' time. WheelCats, another defensive rebound. Moncrief leading the break again. Victoria defence just scattered there. He finds its way to Kane Downey, has a couple of shots. Still on the third attempt.
And that's just the height that he has. Not even just the height, but the wingspan that he has, the threat that he has under the basket, that the Marvels don't have a player that responds to that height. They don't have someone that can really post up against him. And I think he did so well on that third shot, really not to bring his arm down at all, and to make sure that he wasn't giving anything away. Because if he even let go of a little bit of that height, there was a little bit of pressure coming in from behind him.
Attempted transition pass to Nathan Gaines there, just went astray. Ball was turned over, so we see a little more contact inside on Downey. Just been a constant threat in there. No particular foul trouble for the Marvels at this stage. A remarkably clean game to this point. Kavanagh, pretty quiet from a scoring perspective, drives, finds the lift for 3. He goes boom. The first from that position on the floor tonight.
That's a scary thing for the Marvels to respond to now, knowing that the WheelCats do have a threat at the 3-point range. It was something that both teams hadn't been able to secure yet, and really neither team had to respond to. But now that that's a threat that the WheelCats can convert from, that brings a whole nother level of response that they have to do so early and so consistently.
Kavanagh pushing for the WheelCats. Moncrief. Downey, who finishes. Been a familiar pattern offensively. Jordan Brown wheels around. Thinks about the 3 for a second. Throws a no-look pass inside the trunk line. Didn't have enough elevation. Catches Klein's hand. Tails out of bounds.
That's one of those passes that it feels like the right thing, and And in theory, the pass is the right decision, but that pass being so flat and being across the hands, it's so hard to collect a fast pass when it's going across your hands, not kind of down into them. Especially for someone like Tom Klein, he's a fantastic player, but in his class, he sits a little bit lower than what he normally, what a player with his condition would normally be, purely because he has affected hands as well. So his catching ability is also affected. And that's something that the Marvels need to rely on, and need to be aware of moving forward.
As we see another three. Jordan Moritz just rolled into that perfectly, the pass from Moncrief. His 10th assist. I believe that was still in the first half. Klein now. Brown, get it to go. Moncrief pokes at the rebound. Waddling as well with a hand in there, but the ball will go back to the Marvels. Brown gets it in, almost gets away from Klein and reels it in and wheels around. Into the long block, can't get it to go. Brown can't retain the rebound. Back to Perth.
That's kind of been the name of the game for the Marvels so far, is just those passes being a little bit messy, things not being quite as clean and precise as they need it to be against a team like the WheelCats that train so consistently with each other. I know for a fact that the WheelCats, I think they train every single morning at about 6 a.m. It's a hard thing to respond to when a team is that committed.
Jordan Moritz goes three again. Three from that range now. He really found a shooting stroke, and as you mentioned, because of the last thing the Marvels were expecting or needing. Tom Klein draws a little bit of contact inside. Matt Hongstree with the foul there. Mason Bryant goes to his bench. Thomas back on the floor, along with Higgins. Ball's inbounded. Bolton shots off. Rebound Moritz is mauled. Just the third team foul this quarter. So we took down towards the last minute. Moncrief for Perth. Cut off. Pull back to Moritz, going for number 4. Get to go. He hustles after his own rebound. Didn't quite reel it in.
Moncrief just not necessarily wholeheartedly appealing for a foul there. I think there might have been a little bit of crossing the path. That's one of the hardest calls to make, is that kind of loose ball when both players are reaching down for it. Who makes the contact? Who's in front? And one of those ones that most referees will err on the side of caution and allow it to kind of play out, as it will.
Thomas throws it past inside, and it's never going to find its target. But the Marvels will good job to poke away the outlet pass. Find his way to Dalton. Very speculated to Tom Klein. He appeals for an unsportsmanlike foul. And Downey thinks that is pretty amusing.
I think that's one of those situations you've got to appeal for the foul, but I think you're pretty confident that it's never going to get upgraded. There was a pretty solid hand on the ball. I think it was the arm that came with the hand that might have made a little bit of contact across.
Klein makes the first free throw. Understandable, a little bit of frustration for the Marvels. Just struggling to shoot 9 of 31 from the field. Stage. The large drop that falls in. Should be second last possession of this first half, and a comfortable one for the WheelCats as partially out of his chair there, blocking foul the call. That's from the baseline. And pretty much run this thing down. Inside again, Gianni. Impeccable from that field to mid-range. Dalton gets the countdown. He's found a lane, inside pass. Klein draws some contact. Just before the buzzer. He'll get to shoot a couple of free throws. Ben Moncrief advocating again. Might be career in law for him somewhere. Klein's first one is off. Adjustment, Moncrief, the rebound, Hoyt, and was intended there for Jordan Moritz. He couldn't get hold of it, the ball sails out of bounds. That'll do us half-time. The WHEELCATS really putting on a show here at the Darwin Sports Fitness Centre. They lead the home Victoria Marvels 46-20, and we'll be back in just a moment.
G'day everyone, I'm Clarence McCarthy-Grogan. I play for the Southern District Spartans and we're here at Narrandjeri Stadium for Kevin Coombs' Indigenous Round. The Indigenous Round is so important because it shows the sport of wheelchair basketball that was led by Uncle Kevin Coombs, an Indigenous Paralympian and just an all-round great guy and a very inspirational leader for not just Indigenous wheelchair basketballers but people all around the country because of what he had to go through and trailblazed. It feels really cool to have all the teams here. It's almost like a bit of a finals sort of weekend if the vibe is like that. It's just great to have that social interaction with everybody because we don't actually get to see each other too often throughout the season. You know, just great to see everyone at one location for the first time. Having Indigenous Round to kick off NAIDOC Week is awesome. It's an awesome concept. We're down here in Melbourne. You know, it's pretty cold for me coming from Darwin, but look, it's a great concept because it showcases what wheelchair basketball is all about, inclusivity, and it's just great to showcase wheelchair basketball and the Indigenous athletes that do play wheelchair basketball at the highest level in the country.
I'm Nicholas Marachi. I'm a Senior Manager in the Tax Services team here at William Buck in Victoria. William Buck has a really good environment of innovating and really changing things up where we need to adapt. And as tax law changes, our way of administering it and our way of preparing advice also changes, and we're adapting to that. The firm has a really good culture of acknowledging good behaviours and good efforts and outstanding outcomes from staff members. The Victorian office offers an Excellence Award to an outstanding staff member. That was a really humbling experience for me. Usually I'm not short for words, but I was short for words at that point in time.
Wheelchair basketball emerged shortly after World War II after it was developed by injured servicemen. It became a foundation Paralympic sport at the 1960 Games and is now one of the world's most recognisable wheelchair sports. Athletes who play wheelchair basketball have a physical impairment. All players use a wheelchair to compete, although some don't use a wheelchair in everyday life. The court dimensions and basket height for wheelchair basketball are the same as the able-bodied version of the sport, as is the playing time and number of players on court. Wheelchair basketball classifications range between 1 and 4.5 points. Players with a classification of 1.0 have the highest level of impairment, while players in the 4.5 point class have the highest level of physical function to be eligible for the sport. The wheelchairs used during a game are specially designed to support players and help them move around the court. During a match, the classifications of the 5 players on the court are added together and must reach a total of no more than 14 points. The object of the game is to score the most points in the opposing team's basket. The team with the most points by the time the clock expires wins. Wheelchair basketball is a contact sport. The sport is so fast that it can be difficult for athletes to stop in time, meaning contact is inevitable and can result in some spectacular collisions. While contact is permitted and even encouraged, head-on collisions are strictly forbidden and can result in fouls or even ejection from the game. For more information on wheelchair basketball, visit paralympic.org.au.
Why Redaf? I like here, and I like the team. I love Melbourne. Yeah. This season, I see all the players be better. Last season is need to be less. This season be better, maybe because make a result in this year. I think I'm happy about this. Yeah, my style is more aggression. To put pressure on another player, don't give him to breathe, and now work. Yeah.
Sabri Bezzetti, guarda tutte le partite Wheelchair Basketball d'Australia.
Welcome back to the Diamond Valley Sports and Fitness Centre here in Melbourne. Let's look at some of the highlights of the first half of what's been pretty much a clinic from the Perth WheelCats. Offensively and defensively, particularly in the rebounding sense. Jesse Dalton trying to work in return for the Marvels. Got himself into some foul trouble.
Yeah, it's been a really difficult position for Lockie Dalton in this game in terms of those fouls. Has really been really instrumental in the way that they played defense. And the unfortunate fact is being that involved in the defensive side is that you do tend to cop a lot of contact. And against a team like the Wheelcats that really look to play inside the paint, they've scored, other than the threes from Jordan Moritz, they've scored pretty much all of their points inside the paint with that massive amount of height that they have. And that's really been the way that they've looked to push their game, and that's been so difficult for the Marvels to respond to. Someone like Bobby Dalton just doesn't have the height to do that, doesn't have the height to really control the ball once it's in that position. That defense is really going to have to pick back up for the Marvels if they want to bring the scoring deficit back a little bit.
Yes, we look at some of the raw numbers. The Wheelcats understandably 19 made 2-point field goals. And of course Jordan Moritz with all 3 of their successful 3-point attempts from just 5 attempts has taken the flamethrower today, something we haven't seen regularly during the season, but that'll certainly please Sean Norris and totally dominating the height situation. The Wheelcats dominating the league by a 2-to-1 ratio. I like the tactics from Jason Bryant, head coach of the Marvels, trying to take Moncrief out of the game. He's comfortable post up early on, but some of the complementary defense in terms of picking up other cutters has been allowing Moncrief to pile up 10 assists in the first half. They look like Magic Johnson. He's wheeling and dealing. Anyway, still a whole half to play. The Wheelcats in their regular forms are going to get things underway. It's an important series for the Wheelcats. They certainly want to cement that 4th position to the finals back here in Melbourne on the 21st to the 23rd of August. Jake Kavanagh with the ball for the Wheelcats. Moncrief, he's going to launch straight into the 3. Said Welsh the rebound. Backpedaling. Now he finds his cutter. Klein takes his time, changes sides, and rolls it in.
That was really good patience from Seb Welch there. I thought there was a moment where he might look to post up that shot, but just seeing how open the top of the keyway was, just waiting for someone to kind of take over that space and find a shot.
Catch her off again. Dalton takes it ahead. Got Kavanagh on his tail, now in front of him. Dalton wheels around, waits for the troops to arrive. Rolls into a 3. He gets it to go, boom! Something the home fans most excited to see. Kavanagh, cut off by Dalton, wheels around. Looks on Moncrief to the side of free throw line. Throws it past it to Kavanagh. He's probably going to have to launch that. Goes glass, can't get it to go. Nice rebound from Higgins, but just rushed the outlet pass, and probably symptomatic of some of the ill-considered decisions the Marvels it's a product of inexperience that have been prone to make every time they do something good. It's quite often followed by just a rush of blood.
Yeah, and I think that's also a struggle with not having that height, not having someone that you can just see the hand kind of above the sea of defenders to be a target to get a pass to. They don't really have a way to get the ball moving once the Wheelcats put a little bit of pressure on. And I think that's something that they've looked for a little bit, is kind of get that pressure started.
Jordan Moritz looks at another 3, it bobbles out, but Ben Moncrief's there for the offensive rebound and the putback. Dalton to inbound for the Marvels. A little bit of backcourt pressure in the Wheelcats. Dalton in 2 minds. Now gets it ahead to Klein. He's got a 2-on-2 situation. Back to Welsh, gets around. That's the layup. Again, pretty good composure from Welsh there. Recognised the lane. A bit strong to the basket. Moncrief, head fake, gets himself inside. Got a hand from Klein there. Does enough to stop that. Dalton can't corral the rebound. Back to the Wheelcats. Moncrief on the roll back. Higgins the rebound. Pass makes it tricky for Dalton, but he gets hold of it. Just crosses the floor. He's got Klein running a lane. Spillane gets an aggressive hand in there. Slaps it away.
I think that was a really smart decision from Spillane. I think he knew that he potentially didn't have the speed or the position necessarily to stop the two-man game that was kind of happening around him, but just to really respond to that and just say, I'm going to shut down the play entirely.
In the background, Lockie Dalton rolls into another three. Signs of life yet from the Marvels. Moncrief has to get down to the block. Seems he's going to take matters into his own hands and finishes. Dalton. Mini flame-throwing cameo. Start this half. Goes around. Cavanagh's not letting him get a look at another one. Finds Welsh. Pass was the right idea from Welsh, just not the right elevation. Get the Klein. Spillane the steal. He throws a pass to, I think he thought it was Moncrief, but Ray Kavanagh picked it up. Found Jordan Moritz, who finished.
And again, it's that cut under the basket. That baseline cut has just been so dangerous for the Wheelcats. They've been able to find that cut almost every offense. They've found someone under the basket, and whether they can get that rebound and get the putback points, it's a really dangerous thing for the Marvels to be leaving that line open when they know how much height that the Wheelcats have. If they let them inside onto that baseline, they're going to put that shot up almost every time.
Just a slight delay there. Player out of their chair. We'll go back to the Marvels. Dalton snaps the pass inside, gets it back. Wheelcats a roll up on his threes, but it doesn't matter. He goes boom again. Dalton is throwing fireballs down from the three-point line. It's 3 this quarter. Not even halfway through. Moncrief now look past to Pinder, who's hosting up this time. Can't get that to go. Dalton, the rebound, is everywhere at the moment. Wheels across the floor. Moncrief comes to try and cut him off. Dalton, the ball's almost poked away. He's going to need to get that across halfway. He does. Just in time. Thomas. Back to Dalton. Why not? Catches the front of the rim on this occasion. I think you're entitled a heat check there, aren't you, Campbell?
Yeah, I think this is once again what we have every single game is a little bit of the commentator's curse. I think Lockie Dalton might have heard that I said he wasn't getting many shots from the 3 range at this point. He's decided to come out of the half absolutely firing. It's an incredible thing for him to be able to get kind of that momentum back, and you can feel just the change in the way that the Marvels are playing. They're playing that little bit faster, that little bit stronger, and I think it is representative just of those shots going up and getting a little bit of boost and a little bit of life back in them.
So we see Benjamin Moncrief with the foul, just his first, but his advocacy skills undiminished. Feeling that he got all ball there. It's Lockie Dalton goes for 3 again and goes boom. Unconscious shooting from Lockie Dalton. Head coach Sean Norris, coach of the Wheelcats, has got his hands up in the air. Moncrief comes back with his own 3.
That's the risk that the Marvels are setting at the moment. Knowing that they're playing around those 3s, they know that they're probably going to come back in time from the Wheelcats and just not responding quick enough to get out to that perimeter quite as aggressively as they probably need to.
Lockie Dalton running off a series of screens there. I'm not sure if it's a pass inside or a elevated skyhook, but either way, the ball finished up with Benjamin Moncrief for the Wheelcats. Jordan Moritz, baseline. Picks it back. Cooper Spillane thinks about joining the 3-point party. Goes head fake, spins around. Ball back to Moncrief. Thomas is hot on him. No 3-point opportunity there. Shot clock running down. Jordan Moritz. Long 2. Straight over a hand. Lockie Dalton has got about 4 Perth defenders trying to prevent him from getting a look at a 3 at the moment. He rolls down to the baseline. There must be somebody open somewhere. Maybe Klein inside. No, the pass is a little astray. Turned it over. Kavanagh kicks it across court to Spillane. He does a good job to snatch it from behind. Kavanagh looks to drive baseline. Higgins does a good job to stay in front of him. Ball back to Spillane. His shot's off. Klein the rebound.
The defense just being a little bit scrappy from the Marvels. I think that they're responding to threats a bit better than they have been previously. But they're just not kind of working with each other. It almost feels like they're playing a lot of one-on-one games, and the Wheelcats just haven't really found their style in the second half. Where in that first half they were really kind of playing around each other and really working seemingly a lot better as a team.
Jump ball, the call there. The possession arrow will send the ball back to the Marvels. Despite the pyrotechnics from Lockie Dalton from the 3-point line, they still trail by 21. This time Dalton's pass, a miscommunication, and it sails out of bounds.
Yeah, that run that the Marvels have been trying to get on every time they kind of get a little bit of momentum. I think one of the things that the Wheelcats do so well, and this is a product of how tight-knit of a team they are, is that they just keep the pressure in that really comfortably elevated level and really look to push the things that they know how to do well, and they just stay so consistent.
Moncrief lets a 3 go. It's long. Ball caroms out into the other court. Lockie Dalton on 20 points now, leading all game scorers, courtesy of his 4 successful 3-point attempts this quarter. He has the ball now. I thought about the extremely long 3. Rolled in, rolled out, and hit another one. Boom! Make that 5 for the quarter.
I think he's potentially he's just making sure that you keep track of that, Tauthi. Every time you mention it, it might tick up by another one.
Lucas with the ball. Jake Kavanagh says, I can do that. He almost does in 3. Dalton, the rebound. You see Lockie Dalton, as you mentioned, in the Rollers Against the World Challenge before he had that nasty fall on the broken bone. Just some signs tonight of what the Marvels have missed this season. One of Australia's best young talents. Moncrief goes middle, takes a nasty tumble himself. Just sits there for a second, just a pat on the head from Lockie Dalton.
That's a really difficult position for the Marvels. That was, I'm not sure whether the foul went to Higgins or Dalton, but they're both on 3 fouls at the moment. So collecting that one more puts either of them in a really difficult position, and they both sit in that 2-point class. And that makes it really difficult if they get into foul trouble. The rotations that the Marvels can run really becomes a lot more of an issue.
The bench just clarifying that foul was on at the moment. Meanwhile, the ball's inbounded. Moncrief throws middle, cut off by Dalton. He needs to be careful. Ball inside, Hongshri. Can't quite get it to go. 3 Marvels triangulated around that rebound and couldn't get hold of it.
In fact, I might have been mistaken. The foul's actually gone to Seb Welsh, which is a really lucky turnout for the Marvels. Those 3 fouls being on both low point players is really a dangerous position for any team. The Wheelcats with Kane Downey also having 2 at this point, that is also a little bit of a risk, but not nearly as difficult as for the Marvels.
Lockie Dalton finds Klein inside there. He finishes. And a bustling quarter for the Marvels. They look down and out at half time. They've come back in no uncertain manner as Tom Klein a little alarmed there about that foul, but he eventually puts his hand up, and that'll be his 3rd foul as well. So Thankfully, the Marvels, nobody's got to the mark of 4 fouls. Of course, 5 would see any player leave the game.
I think if I was Tom Klein in that situation, I'd be asking for a post-game review of that call. I think it was a pretty unlucky call. There was solid contact on the ball, and I think it was that chair contact. I think there's an argument that he was pretty squarely in front, and maybe it's a question of control, whether he was fully in control of his chair as his hand was up to block the shot as well. I think that was a pretty tough call for him to take.
Anyway, play back underway. A little over a minute remaining. This third quarter. It's been all the Marvels this quarter. Fantastic comeback. Sam Welsh realises he's left wide open. Looks at a 2. Gets a couple of bounces. Won't go. Moncrief the rebound. Klein tries to pick him up. Blackmore with the screen. Moncrief's away. Dalton comes to pick him up, but the pass is made expertly ahead. Shots long. Marvels get hold of that one. Almost thrown away from Klein there. He goes back across court. Welsh got himself to the right spot to make the layup, just short-handed it a bit. Moncrief sees Hongstree out of his chair temporarily. The officials have stopped the game. And Moncrief gives him a hand to get upright.
This is an interesting position for the Marvels to be in. They're solidly winning this quarter. That second quarter was just such a difficult downfall for them. I think they clearly saw the issues that they were kind of making in that first half, and they've really come to respond to a lot of those. And obviously the scoring line of Lockie Dalton just absolutely coming alive. The Wheelcats doing everything that they can to respond to that. And obviously Ben Moncrief having a little bit more of a scoring impact now. I think the Marvels have done so well to shut him down up until this point.
Thomas, Welsh with the shot inside. After the rebound, it bobbles around a bit. Hongstree with the chair speed. Picks up that long pass back to Moncrief. The Wheelcats, I think they do realise now the quarter's about to expire. They need to get something up, but it's another foul, and that might be on Lockie Dalton. He appeals. No, in fact, Tom Klein. Equally damaging. That'll be 4 for Tom Klein. Ball's in. Moncrief just as the buzzer went, launches that 3. Academic as it was off, but that'll do us 3/4 time. A fantastic comeback from the Victoria Marvels, courtesy of 5. That's right, 5 3-point makes from Lockie Dalton. They trailed the Wheelcats 41-58, and we'll be back in just a moment.
From grassroots to the pros, I'd love to see that.
Where style meets performance, I'd love to see that.
Supporting champions and inspiring the next generation, I'd love to see that.
Welcome back to the National Wheelchair Basketball League, coming to you from Diamond Valley Sports and Fitness Centre. It's the final quarter. The visiting Perth Wheelcats lead the Victoria Marvels 58-41. Play underway. The Wheelcats in the red uniforms with the ball. Ball inside of Moncrief, draws some contact. Flips up a shot once he felt that contact. He had an adjustment in that foul just before the three-quarter time, and in fact was assessed on Lockie Dalton. Official did originally signal the number 6, but it was adjusted to number 5. So Dalton sitting on 4 fouls. Tom Klein still on 3.
And this is something that they're going to have to look at for the next 2 games that the Marvels will play against the Wheelcats across the 3-game series, as all of the rounds are. I think that's going to be one of the really big noting factors. Is just the way that they're playing with the Marvels. Their defense is just a little bit aggressive. It isn't quite respecting the power that the Wheelcats have, and just not responding to the way that they're really drawing in that contact.
Higgins tries to get it ahead. Simon Corridge almost coming up with the steal there. Tatum Brown to inbound. He does so to Lockie Dalton. Playing with those 4 fouls. He launches another 3. And that's a mile long. Excuse him, but he's been completely on fire. Moncrief tries to pick his way through a bunch of Marvels defenders. Didn't really draw the contact he was looking for. Off balance, still made the layup.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that we really focus on teaching a lot of players is focus on getting your shot first and worrying about the contact second. I think that's a credit to Ben Moncrief to be able to do that, knowing that the contact was coming in and really obviously playing towards it, hoping to draw the foul, but making sure that his shot is good regardless of whether that call comes in or not.
Lockie Dalton finishes at one end. Answered straight away by and Downey. Dalton left wide open from 3. There's boom, but there was a whistle before that 3-point attempt to charge. Not sure if you heard that whistle or not, but either way, the 3-point make is wiped away.
And that's going to be another one on Tom Klein. That's going to be the 4th for Tom Klein. Obviously 4 for Lockie Dalton, 3 for Reese Higgins. They're 3 players that have essentially played the entire game. Tom Klein has played the entire game. This is just becoming a more and more difficult position for the Marvels. They can't really deal with the amount of contact that they're making.
Yeah, it's like the foul bingo. It's the sound system in the background gives the appropriate waiting music. We're just checking with the score table, making sure who's got what. Head coach Jason Bryant, of course, keen observer there of the Marvels head coach, just making sure he knows exactly what's down on the score sheet and with the statisticians. He knows everybody's got a lot of fouls, just wants to make sure exactly who's got what.
And I think there might be a little bit of argument from a couple players that they can play with 4 fouls. They can be trusted not to get that last one. It's always a frustrating thing when you've got a player, especially the 3 that have collected the most fouls are really those players that need to be staying on the court and are having such high impact. And I suspect they might be fighting for a little bit more court time. Just play through that. Whether they get 5, they get 5. It's the same impact. Not playing them or letting them get to a 5th and then they have to not play almost has the same outcome when you're this far into the game.
Yeah, of course, Lockie Dalton leading all scorers with 25 points. Tom Klein, 12 points, 8 rebounds. Meanwhile, on the other side, for the Wheelcats, Ben Moncrief has quietly tipped his way to a triple-double. 15 points, 10 rebounds, and 12 dimes thrown. He's adjusted effortlessly to the suffocating defensive tactics early from the Marvels. He's happy to move his operation out to the perimeter and become provider. Fisher's just trying to get this the timing clocks in sync. The officials and a couple of the WHEELCATS players exchanging a few jokes over there. And a few stories about goodness knows what.
I do have to say I'm a little bit impressed by the WHEELCATs just playing out of Diamond Valley. It's a pretty cold stadium, and coming across from Perth, having the flight this morning, I thought that cold might have had a little bit more of an impact on just the way that they came out. Really, the start of this game was where the WHEELCATs just really put the pressure on, and obviously that third quarter, the Marvels actually won. They looked a lot stronger and had a little bit more pressure. But obviously the weather not being too much of an issue for the WHEELCATs.
Yeah, maybe that's why we haven't seen the WHEELCATs head coach Sean Norris, the Wizard, take off that tracksuit and venture onto the pine. Anyway, Frank Pinder with the ball for the WHEELCATs. They have plenty of time to organise what they're going to run in the half court and practice a Pinder 3. No pass. A shot. Pinder gets his own rebound, as often able to do. Moncrief drives baseline. There's a pass fake and then works up something that's a little short. It's a curious offensive possession from the WHEELCATs after that break in play. Dalton. Swaddling, keen to ensure he can't make another 3. Gets the ball inside. Some of those passes to Tom Klein tonight have just been not thrown with the precision required. Get one of their best offensive options in the right spot. Klein picks up the loose ball. Dalton. There's a nice little in-and-away move to get past Moritz. Frank Pinder having none of that. He arrives. Ball back to Brown, finds his way to Klein, but a 3-second call. Tom Klein maybe just had set up camp just inside the rectangular region.
Yeah, I think he thought he cleared the keyway, and I think that might have just been a caster wheel, the small, the anti-tip wheels that might have stayed in, and that is considered still in the paint. I think that was just a little bit of not necessarily looking down and expecting to know where your chair is, but he was just inside the line.
Moncrief looks around, can't find anybody to pass to, so takes the shot. Trying to encourage offensive rebound, controls and launches with one hand in one motion. Can't get it to go. Dalton. Almost looks like he's lining up a 3 now. He throws a bounce pass, which is the right pass, just thrown at the wrong angle, straight into Tom Klein's wheel. Moritz flips a pass across court, Swaddling. Gave a little head fake on the 3, found Moncrief inside. He gives his own head fake. It's back to the middle. Can't get it to go. Rebound there from Jude Ford on the floor. Bolt pushes ahead. Brown, quite from a scoring perspective tonight. We have seen him have some reasonable games earlier in the season. Dalton rolls inside the 3-point line this time. Catches the back of the rim. Unsuccessful.
Yeah, and I think, as you say, that's part of the reason that the Marvels have struggled in this game. Tatum Brown not able to find any shooting opportunities at the moment, and Reece Higgins also not able to find any way to the basket, where both those players at least collect a couple points and at least represent a little bit of a scoring threat for the Marvels, where tonight they just haven't been that one that you want to get the ball to and score from.
Jordan Moritz launches another 3. Can't get that to go. He's cooled off a fraction. Moncrief inside. Hasn't. He finishes. Dalton. 2 players held up in the backcourt. There is 4 Perth defenders back. Dalton weaves around. Klein follows him. Looks to post up. Dalton's left alone. Plunkett with 2 to go. Inside, Jude Ford. Nice offensive rebound and a calm finish.
I think the Wheelcats just didn't really recognise Jude Ford under the basket there. Almost pulling a trick that the Wheelcats have been doing, that under the basket cut, and really making sure that they're getting into that position for that rebound, assuming that shot has the opportunity to miss.
Meanwhile, Frank Pender digs his way inside again for another offensive rebound and a finish. Dalton weaves, left alone again. Goes glass and finishes. Long 2 there. 27. Breakout game for him. From a scoring perspective, Frank Pender, poked away. Races after Plunkett Hollywood's turned it over.
It's a substitution for the Wheelcats. It might be the one that we've been waiting for. I've been waiting to see if he'll brave the cold and take a step on.
He could adopt the Moncrief long sleeves. There's that combat against the cold, and you're correct. Wizard sighting. Tom Klein. Get that to go. Higgins. Talking about him. Offensive rebound. Grabbed it off the floor. Put it back in.
And those offensive rebounds are really the position that Reece Higgins wants to be in. He's been the league's second highest offensive rebounder for a while, even considering the track record that the Marbles have had. And that's a position that he needs to be scoring from.
Kavanagh can't get hold of that rebound. He goes out of bounds. If you're wondering who we're talking about, we say the Wizard. Of course, it's Wheelcats head coach Sean Norris. 6-time Paralympian, gold in Beijing, silver in Athens and London. One of the most decorated careers in elite wheelchair basketball imaginable. Turned his hand to coaching this year. And in fact, delay in play, they were going to have a timeout from the Marvels. They trail 17. Certainly been good value in the second half, Campbell.
Yeah, I think the response from the Marvels tonight will absolutely be watching back this second half and just seeing what they did differently. That's really allowed them to push forward. That third quarter they won relatively comfortably, and then this quarter so far they're going even. But it was just that first half that the Wheelcats got such a good run, and credit to a few players through the Wheelcats, but Jordan Moritz going absolutely wild from the 3, and I think not even necessarily the scores that he allowed, but just the pace that really set for that game and for that quarter rather. And I think that really changed up the way that the Marbles looked to play their defense. They had to respond a little bit more to that outside shot, and it just allowed the Wheelcats to change up how they wanted to play offense, play more like what they usually do, with Ben Moncrief being that big inside the paint, and just get their scoring so aggressively ahead.
Yeah, certainly plenty to build on. It's one of the beauties of the 3-game format. Each of the teams travels to an opponent's venue throughout the season, has the 3 games. Of course, this is the last round before the finals. The Marbles, it'll be time to appraise what's happened in their debut season. Being beset by injuries, Rocky Dalton launches another 3. Can't get it to go, but Tom Klein tracks down the rebound in the furthest corner of the court. Put back out, Dalton, full control there. Goes to launch a 3. There's a bunch of hands in front of him. He gets it off. Shot up. Klein almost had hold of the rebound. Kane Downey, it's down to the baseline, cut off. Brown's hand deters him from shooting. Lucas Spillane has been quiet from a scoring perspective as well tonight. Back to the Wizard, who throws a touch pass to a cutting Jake Kavanagh, who finishes.
That was a really nice call from Sean Norris. He put up his hand. He clearly wanted the ball, It clearly wasn't necessarily for his position in a shooting position, but just knowing that moving the ball that side would have to create that kind of space inside the key. I think it was it certainly faked out what I expected from him. I was assuming he would take that shot. But obviously the court IQ that he has, just knowing how the play would react to that quick pass.
In the background, he does convert his first shot, sailing down a transition and gets a hand on a ball for a steal. At half court, now he's got hold of it again. There may be something no look coming here. He wheels back. A little off balance. I hesitate to even say that about the Wizard, but it might seem like he had himself gathered for that one. Meanwhile, Brown goes coast to coast. His first points of the game. And Downey. There's a little bit of contact from behind. Tatum Brown the foul. Lockie Dalton and Tom Klein still operating with their 4 personal fouls each.
You could see that quick exchange between Tatum Brown and Tom Klein. I think Tatum Brown was a little bit upset with that call. wasn't too happy with the way that foul was called. It was absolutely a foul, but potentially he just wasn't happy with it. And Tom Klein immediately just calming him down, saying we're not going to deal with that. Obviously, a few players would be frustrated by the fouls that they've gotten at this point. And it's something that they can deal with after the game. It's not something that they can let ruin the game now.
Cooper Spillane goes boom from 3. He's had a quiet evening. Found his range on that long attempt. Lockie Dalton, head fake. Keeps Spillane on his wheel. Makes the layup. Nice bit of court craft there. Spillane the other way. Moncrief peels off, goes to the free throw line. The ball measures that too. Moncrief up to 19. Lockie Dalton with his stupendous 29. Make that 31. He goes left and flips a shot off the glass.
We should say for the fact that Ben Moncrief in that, especially in that first half, really kind of struggled to find his way to the basket. He is sitting on a triple-double at this point: 17 points, 10 rebounds, 13 assists. So he's for what we would consider a relatively quiet night for Ben Moncrief is already sitting at that much strength and that much value for the Wheelcats.
Dalton finds defenders all around him again, just to get shot up. Nice offensive rebound. Ball finds its way back to Dalton. Gets around Corridge. Takes it inside, extra pass. Shot short. Finds its way back to Seb Welsh. She can't get it to go. Moncrief another rebound. Spillane cut off. Finds Corridge. He pushes it ahead. Hongshree. It's a bump. Stays there. Moncrief throws a snap pass inside to Spillane. He gives a couple of head fakes. In fact, drew some contact. That'll be on Jack Thomas, his second personal, but just under a minute remaining here. It's been a comprehensive performance from the Wheelcats, but they'll be a little concerned that the way the Marvels have played this second half and the motivation they're obviously going to have in the next 2 games, tomorrow and Sunday, there might be some challenges ahead for them.
I think the Wheelcats have to respect and respond to the fact the Marvels, a couple of the Marvels players really haven't played necessarily at the caliber that you'd expect them to, and how they have throughout the season so far. I think this is obviously this is the strongest side that we've seen from the Marvels, but I think this isn't necessarily the best that we've seen out of individual players and individual performance. So I think they've still got something more to give.
Reece Higgins finishes inside. That'll just about do us for the scoring, I think. WheelCats happy just to hang on to the ball. Godling does a 360, hands it back to the officials. And it's the WheelCats who take game one of this three-game series, 79-57. Benjamin Moncrief's triple-double leading the way for them, 19 points, 11 rebounds, 15 assists. And we had the Lockie Dalton show from a shooting perspective in the second half as he absolutely caught fire. 5 threes in that third quarter alone. His game high, 31. Tom Klein tried hard as we see the play shaking hands and finished with a double-double of his own, 12 points and 10 rebounds.
I think the Victoria Marvels just didn't really get their scoring underway early enough. They obviously found it in that second half, and they got a lot more comfortable in the way that they played in that second half, both in terms of their scoring, but just in the way that they operated together and around each other. And I think that first half was just so damning in the way that they played, and I think that goes to show as well with the foul count on both teams. Obviously, the fouls on the Marvels being really difficult in certain key players, but they had a total of 16 team fouls as opposed to the 5 or 6 rather that the Perth Wheelcats collected, and that's just so difficult to respond to. There's really not a lot that you can do once you get into that foul trouble.
As we look at some of the raw numbers, the Marvels did a good job to reel in that rebounding deficit that they faced half-time to finish up losing that count by 8. The 17 turnovers you mentioned, Campbell, makes it very difficult when you're turning the ball over 9 times more than your opponent. And the Wheelcats with 31 made 2-point field goals. Both teams finishing with 5 successful 3-point attempts. The Marvels, all 5 of those coming in the third quarter, of course, for Lockie Dalton, when he produced his flamethrower and started firing at will. But certainly an entertaining contest, and fantastic for the Marvels to bring such a game out to the Diamond Valley Sports and Fitness Centre. They'll have 2 more games this weekend, so if you happen to be anywhere in the vicinity of Diamond Valley or in Melbourne, worthwhile coming out to have a look as we look at some of the highlights from the second half. And no surprise that that'll be dominated by Lockie Dalton.
And you can tell just what the difference was with the Marvels obviously not having, for the majority of the season, not having Lockie Dalton. The difference that he makes from a scoring perspective, he has that longer range that the Marvels needed, but that ball handling and that control that he has as well is just so elite and so powerful that it really kind of steps up the way that the Marvels are allowed to play and the style that they can contribute.
Yeah, I think that's a fair comment, Campbell. They looked an entirely different team with him at the point. There's a demarcation of roles that falls into place much more smoothly with Dalton managing most of the possessions. We see a couple more highlights from him going left there, finishing right. Moncrief did a bit of everything, I should imagine, in accumulating a triple-double. Anyway, that will do us. Game 1 of 3 in this series, and plenty more action available on Wheelchair Basketball Australia's YouTube channel. Every game through the men's and women's league. The last rounds, teams battling for final positions, streamed live tonight, Saturday and Sunday. Plenty of games for your viewing pleasure. On behalf of my co-commentator Campbell Fraser, I will bid goodbye, and we will see you next time.
Georgia, and welcome to William Buck, a firm that is reimagining the way advisors work. Come with me and take a peek behind closed doors. Exceptional advice comes from passionate people who feel empowered to shape outcomes. Our teams include audit and assurance, business advisory, corporate finance, restructuring and insolvency, superannuation, tax, and wealth advisory. These teams work together to create a tangible impact for our clients.